to wrap their feet.
Oh.
And no one could figure out where it came from.
That's also weird.
Yes. So on the same lines of the government did it,
Yeah.
at this time, they're testing out thermobaric weapons, which is like pretty sure what they used in Ukraine with the, like, where it's hot air that they're blowing out and it like incinerates everything. But they were testing those out during this time.
Yeah.
And apparently the injuries from those are like very similar to what these hikers had. So there's that too. They could have been there. They ran into a weapons test because they didn't file their trip the way they were supposed to. So the government had no idea they were there.
Yeah. I feel like that's...
And... Oh. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead before you forget.
I was going to say, and other hikers and people in the area saw flashing lights in the sky that night too. Like big lights.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I had heard that part too. But I think for, like, the theory that I've always thought was this, that Russia... I mean, I didn't know they didn't file their route, which would make sense then that they didn't know they were there. And no one's supposed to be there, right? Like, nothing lives there, so...
Right.
That's a prime spot.
The perfect place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, so they just was like, whoops, we just killed some people we didn't know, and then we gotta cover this up. Like, I feel like that's the most believable. Like, they didn't purposely do it.
That was the theory I always thought, too.
Yeah.
Was that they accidentally killed them. But, again, this doesn't explain why they walked single file. It explains a lot of the other stuff, but unless maybe someone was out there and realized they saw it, and then they had to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because they knew they saw it.
Right, but if they saw it first, and then they have injuries, and then they're made to get out of the tent and walk...
The ones in the ravine would have died within 15 seconds of their injuries. But it seems like maybe everyone except I think it was Zolotarov that had, like, died and was in, like, a little ice cast. Like, they found that he had died, or he had died of hypothermia and was, like, alive for a while in the snow. But all the other ones were dead when they got there, so they could have been thrown into that ravine to hide them too.
Okay. Yeah, they could have died instantly and then just dragged over there. But there's still walking prints, though.
Right. Yeah.
There's no drag. I guess if you dragged, maybe that would be buried by the time they found it. Like, the snow would cover it up again. Drag marks.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Or like it would blow across or something.
Right. But they also cut themselves out, at least one person, of the tent.
Yes. Yeah, it was cut from the inside, and it said that there were, like, shallow knife marks in the tent that didn't go through the tent wall.
Okay.
So, it was at least, but it was just, like, one clean slice up that they used that, like, was the main rip. Like, it wasn't like it got ripped from people going out, and I would think that if a bunch of people are going out a hole, which the tent had a front and back door too, so it didn't really make sense that they would cut themselves out unless someone made them.
Yeah. Yeah, that also doesn't make sense.
Especially if they were planning on going back to the tent, because they had, like, a needle and thread and would have to, like, hand sew it shut again.
Yeah, that's true too. Well, couldn't someone go in the tent and cut the slash?
Oh, yeah, maybe they were already out of the tent.
Yeah, maybe they're already, like, dead.
But the tent was closed up.
Right.
That's true. I never thought of that.
Yeah. Maybe it's both. Weapons test and some agent or something.
Right. And then there were also geological surveys in that area at the time, and I guess the way that they tested for these things was they, like, lit off bombs and then would, like, record the seismic response, and then they could tell if it was, like, precious metals.
Okay. What a way to do this.
I know. So they thought maybe they got, like, trapped in that. But at the same time, again, like, seems far-fetched a little bit to me, because a lot of the injuries don't seem in line with that.
Yeah. Also,
and why wouldn't they just put their shoes on? Yeah.
And why would they walk? If I heard a big boom, I would not be walking. Or if I thought I was in danger or whatever, I'd be running and put my shoes on. Yeah. Yes. Wouldn't there also be, like, craters or something?
Right, some sign of that happening, but there really isn't. Like, there's no sign of anything happening in the area.
Yeah.
Other than people seeing the lights in the sky, and a lot of people saw that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know about the geological surveys, but...
I read the book 1079. Well, I read the first half, but I guess 1079 that I started reading, this is their, like, main theory, but it's really convoluted as to how they, like, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't, but it had a lot of good details.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yes, I don't like it. And one of the last theories that I have, besides aliens, which was the lights in the sky, which I don't think, to me, like, anything could be aliens. Like, you can make up what aliens do because no one's proven that aliens are real.
Well, yeah, right. Aliens can be literally anything, and we have no idea.
Right.
So just any unknown could be aliens, I guess, technically.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm considering that along, like, it's a non-theory. People throw it out there all the time, but to me it doesn't count. But my next real theory is that there's the Mansi tribe that lives in that area, and they're, like, an indigenous tribe. And right when the Soviet Union started, they, like, were hostile towards the Mansi and wanted them, like, tried to get rid of their culture, which I think was huge. And, like, when communism started, they tried to get rid of, like, everyone's culture. But at this point, they kind of said, okay, they live in literally Siberia. Like, just let them do whatever. They don't want to interact with us. We'll just let them do their thing. But when they first started to try to, like, assimilate them, they sent this woman out to the tribe, and there was this island, and they said women can't go there because it's a, like, sacred spot.
Oh.
And she went on the island and they killed her.
Oh, wow.
And then they got punished. And, like, right away when they brought up maybe the Mansi did this, like, immediately everyone said, oh, no, it wasn't them. And it kind of seemed like they were the most likely to have done it. So it was weird that immediately everyone said, no, it wasn't them. But I think possibly they were covering it up. And apparently this mountain, some say, was a sacred space, and there were 2 women on it. So that might explain something.
Right.
But when they were asked about it after, then they said, no, it's not sacred. But, you know, they could be covering it up. They don't want to get in trouble. Like, they saw what happened last time and it didn't go well for anyone. So maybe it was just kind of like, let's just pretend this didn't happen.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that could be another reason her tongue was cut out, right?
Right. And for a while when they were hiking, they were following the Mansi Hunter's tracks. Like, they were going in his tracks, and that's part of why they were, like, doing a weird route, because it's just easier than trying to make their own because the snow was so deep. So there was for sure one Mansi guy out there when this was happening, but again, there isn't really a ton of evidence that he was there or that anyone was there. And the Mansi helped with the search party too. So you would think, like, why would they help if they were involved? But maybe they helped because they were involved.
Right,
and they wanted to control it.
Yeah, I could see that.
There's just so much. Like, this could easily be 2 more hours of me talking about these theories, but
Well, yeah, I don't know, I definitely heard the weapons test and I thought that was the most likely, but now that they've been walking, like, and they didn't scatter like I thought.
Right. I still think they probably saw something they weren't supposed to see.
Yeah. Or I feel like the Mansi could make sense. Because also, like, someone would walk up and say you have to get out or whatever, and they could have a weapon or something and make them walk single file and put them in places and...
Right, and then, like, beat them up, especially if the men, like, tried to defend the women or something. Like, it could have very easily turned into a huge fight, and the Monty just happened to get away.
Yeah, but...
And then the government covered it up because they didn't want another PR nightmare. Because, first of all, it looks like they're not controlling their people well if that gets out. But also, do they really want to have to punish them?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I could just see covering it up. Just, okay, we'll just let it slide because maybe they were in the wrong or something, like in the wrong area that they didn't realize. And it's just a conflict of cultures, I guess, at that point.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm team KGB involvement, and I think that's why so many things went missing. Like, oh, the camera film was damaged. Darn. Oh, there's diaries missing. Darn. Like...
Yeah, that's true. Like, a lot of possessions are missing. And the radioactive's still weird.
Right. What explains that other than maybe it was the CIA, honestly. Like, maybe they were exchanging, because they would give the radioactive stuff to the CIA and then they would figure out what the Russians were using to make weapons. So maybe they happened to also be meeting a CIA agent out there, and then the CIA agent killed them because they'd like helicopter in from Alaska or something.
Oh shit. Yeah, I feel like that could happen.
Right. Impossible to know. And the government, as soon as there was nuclear stuff on their clothes, they shut the case down and that was it.
Yeah, very suspicious.
Right? They're hiding something. I don't know what, but...
Right. I mean, there wouldn't be any of that with the Mansi tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
They wouldn't care to...
Very weird. Yeah, I feel like it's some kind of government cover-up, like a lot of stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I feel like someone found out something they shouldn't have known, maybe with the rest of the group present, so then they all had to die.
Right. And some people say that they think that Krivonashenko got arrested on purpose in that town for singing.
Oh.
Because he needed to, like, contact the police or, like, make contact before they went out there. I've heard that as a theory. Because who says singing in public is illegal? Like, just in this one town? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Right. I could see that. Pretend to get arrested to trade off some information or whatever before they go.
Right.
I think, government's involved in some way.
I think so, too.
I mean, the weapons test does make sense, too. Because they didn't
maybe
know.
they used the weapon on them. Like, maybe they got away, and then they used the weapon on them. That's also possible to be like, okay, well, guess what? You're dead now. Right. You think you can get away?
Right. Yeah. Sad, though.
I know. I, like, once you, like, read through their diaries and stuff, it's like, oh, these weren't just, like, they were people. They were young. Like, between 20 and 24, and then the one old guy, but he's weird. Yeah, he doesn't fit. And initially, other people were supposed to be in this group, and, like, up until the last moment, they were, like, switching in and out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they were originally supposed to be, like, 13.
Oh.
And like certain people were on there that didn't even know they were on the list to be in it, and then